I'm Sandi Toksvig, and this is What the Dickens, the arts panel show that does for the arts what Richard Dawkins did for God. The two captains are comedian and supersizer star Sue Perkins and comedian and supermarket user Chris Addison. And with Sue this week is a comedian who once lost a bet with a friend that involved standing in a bucket of water while singing the national anthem backwards, holding a tangerine and a bowl of cereal. However, he recouped the money by having inadvertently invented a new Japanese game show. It's Dave Gorman.
Thank you.
Chris's guest is Britain's funniest GP, who is half West Country, half Australian, which means that every time he rolls his giant cheese down a hill, it always comes back. It's Dr. Phil Hammond. OK, the first round is 3 steps to heaven. Now, our teams are shown a series of 3 images, each offering a clue to a famous film, book, play or musical. 3 points are awarded if they guess the answer from the frankly impossible first image, reducing to just 1 for the insultingly simple third picture. So, Sue and Dave, you're going to start, and here is your very first picture clue.
Oh, the Nolans.
It's the Nolans.
It is. These are the all-singing, all-dancing, all-insect-repelling Nolan sisters. Perhaps the strongest argument for birth control that the Irish Catholic Church has yet encountered.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're Irish.
They're sisters.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
sisters, it could be
Nuns?
sort of nuns or hospitals. Is it Carry On Matron?
Now, let's have a look at the second photograph.
Okay.
Now, this is Bodger, apparently, who is the mascot
That's
of Wycombe
Wycombe.
Wanderers, football club.
Yes.
Well, that's very impressive. Named, of course, I say of course, after the legendary Wycombe striker Tony Bodger Horseman, who I'm sure I don't have to tell you, notched 416 goals in 749 appearances for the Chairboys. I have no idea what I'm saying. I'm just reading. Now, the key word here is Wycombe, if that helps you at all.
Wycombe.
Yeah, so let's have a look at the 2 photos together. So, we've got...
Sisters Wickham.
No,
Oh, the Witches of
sisters?
Eastwick. I don't know. The,
Oh, it's easy.
You've got...
Sorry. And so have they. Have you got right?
Ah, yes, no, hang on. Wickham is a character
Yes.
in Austen's Pride and Prejudice.
The answer is Pride and Prejudice.
Well Mr. Wickham.
Can I just check that there was absolutely no whispering between you and the front row of the...
Sandy, I've
Yeah,
got-
they went mental.
How dare you? I've got a lower second-class honours degree in English literature. How dare you?
Well, you're quite correct. The answer is, of course, Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice. Like the Nolans, the novel revolves around 5 sisters: Jane, Elizabeth, Mary, Kitty and Lydia Bennet. Wickham is the reprobate army officer who runs off with Lydia, and I can show you what the last photograph was going to be. Anybody know which ballet dancer that is?
Darcy
Darcy
Russell.
Darcy, do you see what we did
And they
there?
all wore bustles.
Darcy.
Yes, they all wore
bustles?
bustles. Darcy is, of course, the proud and, incidentally, stinking rich chap who finally wins the hand of Elizabeth. And sorry if you haven't read it, I've probably ruined it for you there. So 2 points with some cheating there to Sue and to Dave. Anybody know how old Jane Austen was when writing Pride and Prejudice?
26?
32.
14.
33. 34.
what is it?
35.
In the age
36.
here.
37.
42.
38. 39.
It was 3. She was
She
3.
was.
She started it when she was 20 and she finished it when she was 37 years old. It took
Lazy bitch.
7
She was.
In fairness, I started it when I was 20 and I finished it last year when I'm 37.
Jane Austen had some difficulty crafting the romantic storyline. Indeed, it was only at the very last minute that the publishers decided to edit out Elizabeth's remark at the public ball. "Why, Mr. Darcy, I feel giddy. I do believe you've laced my fruit punch with hypnol." Over to Chris and Dr. Phil. Here is the first of your photographs. I tell you what, if she pulls her skirt elastic up any higher, she'll straitjacket herself. That's a...
Has he got body heat? General point of information about
Yes.
couples who've been married for 70-odd years, they generally have one functioning body between the two of them. So she's got a right hip, he's got a left hip, he'll have his kidneys working, she'll have her liver working. She can see, he can... Yeah, that often happens. They lose something, then the other one keeps them. So one can smell, the other can see, one can fart, the other can burp. One of them dies, they're completely stuffed. That's why they all die within about 15 minutes of each other. They're entirely codependent.
That's a doctor
That's a
talking.
medical fact, that is.
So, but when you say to some poor female patient,
Yes.
I'm afraid your husband's died, are you tempted to say, and you'll probably go in the next 20 minutes? Is that a...
That's unsaid. I just say that with a nod.
Second photograph. This is
DNA.
a 1950s scientist creating a double helix DNA model. So what have we got?
Is it a book or a film?
It's a film.
It's a film, is it?
Actually, I think there's a book as well.
DNA.
Final photograph. I think this will give it away.
Mark Bolan. T-Rex.
T-Rex.
Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park. Can I just explain? The old fossils in the park are, I think, self-explanatory. DNA was, of course, extracted to reconstruct the prehistoric animals on display, and the Tyrannosaurus, or T-Rex, was the biggest and most terrifying of the dinosaurs. I can tell you that Chris and Phil got 1 point there. My dad was in one of the very first dinosaur movies, and it was called Reptilicus, and it's fabulous. It's the story of a dinosaur who eats Copenhagen, basically. There's quite a lot of screaming people on bicycles, and people dropping roll mop herrings in surprise. There's quite a lot of... Critics acclaimed the film's special effects, saying the dinosaurs were incredibly lifelike. OK, how would they know? All right, apart from Barry Norman, how would they know? So at the end of the round, I can tell you that Phil and Chris have got 1 point, but at the moment, Sue and Dave have zoomed into an early lead with 2.
Fury, consternation, disappointment. One of those is yours.
The second round is called Yes and I'm Mickey Mouse. The teams are introduced to members of the public who share their names with famous characters from literature, film or song, before attempting to identify who they are by posing questions to which the answer can only be yes or no. Teams have just 90 seconds to cross-examine, after which they must guess the identity of the mystery guest. So, Chris and Phil, let's meet your fictional namesake. Hello there. How are you? Good, nice to see you. Welcome to our mystery guest. Our guest here shares his name with a well-known character from literature. And for the audience only, here is who he is. OK, a little frisson there, I think.
Sorry, can I just see? I know as well now.
Chris and Phil, your minute and a half begins now.
Are you fictionally a man?
Yes.
Are you in a film adaptation?
No.
Oh, don't know then.
Is it a book you've read yourself?
Yes.
Are you contemporary a fictional character?
Yes.
OK. Is the author still alive?
Yes.
Is it a children's book? Are you Asterix?
It could be.
Are you one of the Mr. Men?
Are you Tintin?
No.
Are you Mr. Funny?
No.
But it could have been read by. It wasn't aimed at children.
It wasn't aimed at children, it could have been read by children if their parents had left it. Are you the man from The Joy of Sex?
No.
Is it by Philip Pullman?
No.
No, these
Alex
people...
Rider.
No.
Alex Rider, good. You've got
Same.
kids. Are you Charlie and Lola?
Over here, any ideas? His age is very critical.
So he's either very old or very, very young.
His age is in the title of the first.
Are you Adrian Mole?
Adrian Mole.
I'm afraid you were out of time. This gentleman shares his name with Sue Townsend's popular young diarist, Adrian Mole, and so no points there, I'm afraid. Now, how old were you, Adrian, when the book was actually released?
I was 13 and a half when the book came out. You can imagine the hell I went through.
Oh! No. And, I mean, did you write to her and say, what have you done? You've ruined my life?
I did.
And what did she write back?
She did write back. She sent me a signed copy of a hardback book, and she also sent me a big photograph with many apologies for what she'd done.
That's sweet.
Was there a girl at school called Pandora that you had a crush on?
I think it was more than a crush, actually.
Thank you very much to Adrian Mole. Adrian Mole's diaries are the second best-selling fictional diaries ever, just behind Jeffrey Archer's. Sue and Dave, let's meet your fictional namesake. Now, I can tell you that our second mystery guest shares her name with a character from film, and for the audience only, here is who she is.
Oh, that's intimidating
dear.
noise, isn't it?
Right, Sue and Dave, your 90 seconds begins now.
Was the film released in the last 10 years?
Yes.
Is the character American?
Yes.
Oh, well done.
Is a character under the age of 30?
Yes.
I think so.
Yeah. Yes.
Is your character female?
Yes.
Okay.
Is your character from this planet?
Yes.
Is
your character human?
Yes.
Yes.
But it was a curiously good question.
Yeah.
Oh, really? So possibly some alien intervention. Are you anything to do with Dana Scully?
No.
It's possible.
So is it in the science fiction film?
Yeah.
And the film was released in the last 10 years?
I think there have been some before as well.
Oh, there's a series of films.
Yeah.
Does your character die in any of the films?
No.
Is your character a hero?
No.
Is your character quite important in the films?
Yeah.
Is your character the title of the film?
No.
You're too quick, mate.
The hero thing is good. The hero thing is good, and the planet thing is good. Those are good elements in terms
Are
of.
you an intergalactic sex warrior?
Are you Lois Lane?
Yes.
Yes.
Don't say no.
No, but when you do, you put me to shame.
Oh, yeah.
You're very good.
What a ridiculous thing.
So, were you born Lois Lane?
No, I wasn't born Lois Lane.
Okay. What was your first name originally?
Yeah, my real name's Lois.
Lois, right.
My dad's surname, this separated. My mum's surname, unfortunately, is Lane. So.
No, it's cool.
Yeah. So, what were you originally?
It was bigger staff when I was younger.
Oh, I think Lois Lane is much better than Bigger Stuff. I think it's much more.
No disrespect, but you've left out.
Although I would like it if Lois Bickerstaff was the name of the Superman character. That would be...
Yeah. What job do
Bloody
you
hell,
have?
Superman.
I work in sales.
So you work in sales. So when you're selling something, do you have to say it's Lois Lane here? And
No, just say Lois, but the majority of the customers are like, oh, Lois Lane. And I'm like, yeah. And they're like,
And have you enjoyed having the name of a famous character?
I love it.
Yes, great. Well, ladies and gentlemen, please thank Lois Lane. Of course, Superman isn't the only famous news reporter who can fly. There's also Andrew Marr. Obviously, he uses his ears. So, at the end of that round, well, it's not looking too good. Chris and Phil have still got 1 point, but surging ahead are Dave and Sue with 4 points. Before we disappear faster than a speeding bullet, here is a little teaser for you at home. In which Cole Porter musical does a different character called Lois Lane appear? See you after the break. Welcome back to What the Dickens, where before the break I asked you this question. In which Cole Porter musical does a character called Lois Lane appear? Anybody?
Kiss Me, Kate.
Yes, very good.
Do we get a point?
I am going to give you a point for that because I think it deserved it. Yes, indeed, the musical based on Shakespeare's Taming of the Shrew. And in the musical, Lois Lane sings two of the best-known songs, Why Can't You Behave and Always True to You in My Fashion, which I love. Right, the next round is Love It or Loathe It, in which our guests choose a subject or genre from the arts that sends them either into a fit of ecstasy or a fit of the screaming abdabs. They must then claim that they both love it and loathe it in turn. The opposing team then decides in which of the extreme opinions sits the truth. So, Phil, you are up first. What have you picked to love and to loathe?
I have chosen
Yes.
The Sound of Music.
OK, and are you going to love it or loathe it?
I love The Sound of Music.
Try and convince them.
In times of recession, we need the uplift, the sheer undiluted joy of The Sound of Music. In fact, I prescribe it to my patients. It's cheaper than Prozac. It makes them much happier to go sit, watch The Sound of Music. Art and films are fantastic. I defy anyone in this room not to cry at the end of Edelweiss. That bit at the end just brings tears to your eye. Everyone is weeping buckets when he's singing Edelweiss. The beauty of it also, it's based on a true story. The Von Trapp family really did exist, and so some people try and diss it and say it's not realistic. It is based on the adventures of the Brady Bunch and the Von Trapp family. So it's actually historical, and it's absolutely fan. And the fact it is so endearing that it was first performed in, I think, the late 50s, and is now still being performed today, and will do when the bombs go off. I think it's just testimony to its greatness.
I think that's very
film.
persuasive. You two got any questions about, clearly, Dr. Phil's overwhelming love for this film?
What's your favourite song? Obviously, you mentioned Edelweiss, but any other favourites?
I think High on a Hill lived a lonely goat herd, lay your head. If you look, exactly. And the other beauty, I went to in Bristol at the Hippodrome. We went to a sing-along at Sound of Music. It was brilliant. You were to dress up as a nun, and there was a hysterically funny man who dressed up as a lonely goat turd. Dressed up as a big turd high on a hill with a spliff in his mouth. How we laughed. It was just such a joyful community singing. It was wonderful.
We need to hear the other side.
What I particularly loathe about The Sound of Music is this silly, syrupy saccharine, the nutties are coming to get me, the nutties are coming to get me. You're pleading at the end for Rolf, whatever his name is, to blow the whistle and shoot the buggers, not let them free. Who would dress their children in curtains? You want to get your children beaten up and bullied at school, you'd dress them in some curtains, wouldn't you? It's an absolute disgrace. They knew by the 50s when they wrote this what the Nazis had done, and the fact that you could water it down with this ridiculous little sing-song when something deeply sinister is happening, I think is an absolute disgrace, and it shouldn't be shown anywhere.
Wow, any more questions?
Can I point out you are wearing some curtains?
When I saw it in Denmark, because we had terrible trouble translating English into Danish, and there's that wonderful scene where the Reverend Mother says, you know, Maria, wherever God closes a door, somewhere he opens a window. And the Danish subtitle came up and it said, don't worry. No, that's it. That's all it said. So, come on now, love it or loathe it?
I think he's being deliberately contrary.
Do you think he was being over-animated when he hated it to try and sucker us in?
I think hating it would be people's assumed default position for a heterosexual man born in Australia.
Oh, my...
I think that's...
Careful now, Dave, psychobabble.
No, I'm profiling, obviously, but I think he's deliberately playing against type, and I think he's going to love it.
Go for it.
OK.
Are you Lois Lane?
They've decided that you love it.
You love it.
Oh!
Genius. That's only 2 points.
So, you get 2 points. The Sound of Music. It's got nuns, it's got Nazis. It's like a party organised by Prince Harry. It's Dave's turn now. What is your chosen work to love and to loathe?
My chosen work to love and to loathe is the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Right, and are you going to start by loving or loathing the Rocky Horror Picture Show?
I'm going to start by loathing it, although I'm just going to register that somebody actually went, wow, in amazement at the selection of the topic in the first place.
OK, off you go.
Any film, and I will say it is, like The Sound of Music, based on a true story, any film where people can only really enjoy it by making up their own lines and interjecting and singing along and interacting with it and making up their own jokes is clearly not a very good film in the first place. Otherwise, they wouldn't need to make their own entertainment. They'd sit there passively and enjoy it. But instead, they have to make up dialogue with lines that didn't really happen. It's a nonsense. I watched it, the live musical, when I was 14. I kind of enjoyed it, but now that I'm a grown-up, I see it as the paltry, thin piece of work that it is. OK. Can you now love it for us, please? You have to forget the way that the audience would react to it when you go to see a sing-along or whatever kind of performance. It's actually a very... You can catch it late at night on an ITV sort of rerun, and it's dark and sinister and it's witty, and Richard O'Brien is fantastic, and it has a cameo, or really just an extra, Christopher Biggins. Those sort of things make it an unbridled joy, the fact that he's dancing around in the background doing nothing. Meatloaf is fantastic. Susan Sarandon, in suspenders, doing a wonderful performance. That ending where the RKO aerial falls into the water and they're all casting on, it's actually genuinely moving at the end. It's a proper musical with fantastic tunes that's based on a real story, and I love it.
Wow. Any questions before he reveals whether he loves or loathes it?
No. Basically, because I agree with everything he said the second time round, I think Dave loves it.
Phil, you happy with that?
Susan Sarandon, yes.
Yeah.
Susan Sarandon.
There you go.
Susan Sarandon.
OK, they think you love
Yes,
it.
Susan Sarandon.
Damn you.
Yeah! Yeah. At the end of the musical, the male lead, Dr. Frank N. Furter, returns to the planet of transsexual wearing full makeup, stockings and suspenders to continue his career as a Conservative MP. So, I can tell you, at the end of that round, Sue and Dave have got 4 points, but in the lead, Dr. Phil and Chris with 6.
Oh yes. Justice.
So, with Sue and Dave lagging behind, we finish with losing the plot. In this quick-fire round, captains communicate the plot of a work of literature, film or song to their teammates without mentioning names or places and without alluding to the title in any way. So, as Chris and Phil are in the lead, they are going to start. Here is your secret envelope. And your time starts now.
OK, he can talk to the animals, walk with the animals.
Dr. Dolittle.
Yeah, yes. A man of a similar profession, lives in Russia. It's all a bit...
Dr. Zhivago.
Yeah, that's right. Well, there's a theme here.
Dr. No.
Yeah, that's right. The next one is set in a...
Carry on, matron.
Yeah,
Carry on, nurse.
No, bear
Carry
with
on,
me.
Dr.
Bear with
Garber.
me. No, keep me in
Carry on,
mind.
doctoring.
No, right, the next one is set in Korea. During
Apocalypse Now?
No,
No,
the other
that's
one. Yeah, the funnier one. Apocalypse Now, but with jokes.
MASH.
Yeah, that's right. This is a nursery rhyme about a man who went to the West Country.
Dr. Foster.
That's correct.
Dr. Gloucester, yeah.
This sounds a little like the last one, but in fact was about a man who loses his soul or sells it to the devil.
Dr.
Faustus. OK, the next one is a... That's right. The next one is a children's, I imagine, movie about a character who lives under the sea.
Doctor 20,000 Leagues and...
No, it's called SpongeBob goes to the doctor.
Yeah, okay.
SpongeBob goes to the doctor.
SpongeBob goes to the doctor.
Okay, the next one, the main actor plays three very well-known comic characters, one of whom is a Nazi who can't stop doing that. It was a satire on nuclear war and the possibility...
Dr. Strangelove.
Yes. You may lose a couple of those.
Well, much as I would like to allow SpongeBob goes to the doctor, I think we won't have that one. So I can't allow Dr. Zhivago because you said Russia, and I can't allow MASH because you said Korea. I will, however, allow Dr. Strangelove, even though you didn't say the full title, which is Or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb. So,
well, that's very big of you,
Thank
Sandy.
you very much. So you get 5 points, which means you've got 11 points.
Oh, 11 points.
It's very good.
It's hard.
Yeah. You need to get 8 correct.
Oh, come on, we can do it.
And your 90 seconds starts now.
Right. A story of a failed actor, chain-smoking, hilarious, very, very funny cult classic made in the 1980s. His title is...
with Mel and I.
Exactly. This is about a normal Joe who gets to be the president of a big country.
That's a film called Dave.
He was here.
Oh, Adrian Mole,
he was
age
sexy.
13 and
But what
3/4
happened
or
when he
whatever.
wanted to join the political fraternity? That was a
Cappuccino
different...
years.
Yes, it was. They went up a hill to fetch a pail of water.
Jack and Jill.
Yes. Oh, hang on. We had her here as well. It's her boyfriend.
Superman.
Yes, but what happens if he comes back?
Superman Returns.
Yes! There was 3 of them, and they got impregnated by a naughty man who might have been the
Boris
devil.
Becker.
One of them sat on a piano.
Witches of
playing-
Eastwick.
Yes! There was a torch, and she shone it in her face because they didn't have any money for the film, and so she sat in the corner.
Anne Widdecombe.
Yes.
Well done. You got 6 correct, I think, there.
I'm not very good at maths, so if you got 6 correct but you needed 8 to win...
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Well, I can tell you...
Windsor, take your smug ass to Chinatown next time, sunshine.
Well, I can tell you at the end of that, Sue and Dave managed to get 10 points, but this week's winners are Chris and Phil with 11. This has been What the Dickens. I've been Sandi Toksvig, and I'm off to the latest Andrew Lloyd Webber musical to test out my new earplugs. I'll see you there. Good night.
It's a brand new road trip next on Sky Arts 1 and Sky Arts HD. We're on a new journey of discovery around Artland, USA. On Sky Arts 2 in just a moment, it's Curtain Up on the Magic Flute, one of Leslie Garrett's 20 operas to see before you die.